What's up, guys? Nate Petrosky from Narrowway Homestead, and I want to talk about solar power. Today is a great example of significantly using a lot of electricity, and my battery's at 100% right now. First of all, it's about 90 degrees outside. It's pretty hot. This AC is running on whisper mode. It's keeping this building, I think I've got it set at 69 or something. So that's running. Load of laundry was done earlier this morning, but we waited until the sun really started shining to start pulling loads. Made our coffee. That pulls 1500 watts. Now it only does it for about 7 minutes I'm using it. Been running laptops, charging phones. I'm just going to walk around and show you guys what I'm doing with the solar, and then I'm going to show you guys the most rinky-dink backwoods solar power system ever. That cost me 10 grand to put up and put together. One of the things I was doing was charging a bunch of batteries, but I'm going to shut that off right now because they're all charged. I try to charge my tool batteries whenever I've got a sunny day and a little excess power. I use a lot of power when it's warm out. So I've got a mini fridge right here. I've got a full-size fridge freezer in the outdoor kitchen, as well as a chest freezer on the storage side of the outhouse, and that's full of food. And the hotter it is outside, the more all that stuff has to run. I've also been charging some portable power stations, which I already know this one is charged, so I'm going to unplug this too and trip over stuff like chainsaws, which I was working on swapping chains and putting oil in and all kinds of stuff like that. The fridges and freezers ran overnight, as well as live with a light. Not a whole lot else. I did have the TV on for a few hours until I fell asleep, and it went into sleep mode. But that really doesn't pull much. Obviously, we've been using water off and on throughout the day, so there's an electric pump that pulls my rainwater out of the water collection tank and gives it pressure. And I said it's a solar video. There's the solar array. These panels were all purchased used about 4 years ago now. And each of them is 250 watts, I do believe. And so obviously there's a bunch of them. What else am I running? Oh, well, I'll get to it. And on this side, I have panels. You can see my shadow right now. These 3 panels will help keep the batteries topped off at 100% as the sun in the sky goes down to there. As long as I'm done charging batteries and running everything significant before it gets there, this will keep it topped off as long as possible. And this is it. This is the solar equipment shed. I have a window AC unit because another issue with solar power electronics, all that stuff, is it generates heat. And it looks like I'm keeping the batteries at about 72 degrees, which is really cool. When I started, as soon as the sun came out significantly to start charging everything, I had that turn on, and apparently the shed's just going to open right up on me. Kick this ladder out of the way. Everything's being switched all around here. Anyway, this is the messy shed, and it's just had to accumulate more stuff. Everything here should end up being rerouted into a garage, which is getting built here later on this summer. Oh man, it's nice in here. So, this is another thing that's running, the air conditioner. That is piped, essentially, very redneck style, down to the batteries here, and that cool air stays underneath this board and, you know, junk I have on top of it. And that feels really cool, like 65-ish degree air or something like that. And that comes up, runs that cool air past the inverter, helping keep the inverter cool. All the electronics just stay a little bit cooler in here. But I have 16 golf cart batteries. They're wired in a 48 volt configuration. And I can get to one of these stickers. You guys can see all the specs on them. But let's check. The other thing that's happening right now is Jen is in the outdoor kitchen cooking with only electric power. So she's pretty much guaranteed pulling 1500 watts herself. The percentage is at 100%. Looks like we're at 59.2 volts roughly. And we are bringing in 300 and 70 watts over usage at the moment. So a lot of this monitoring equipment and everything here used to be in my camper, which was parked here, but I got it out of here. This thing, you guys can do the math on that if you guys care, if you're electricians, but at almost 60 volts, at 59 volts, we are drawing 47 amps. So that's what the inverter is using right now. So obviously we have some stuff running, but we're still bringing in more than what we're using, keeping these batteries topped off. If you don't know much about solar power, obviously we start with the panels. They receive sunshine, and those are 3 of these are wired in series, and then all those series are parallel together in this combiner box, and then that goes to the charge controller, which converts that voltage to something that can be used to charge the battery with. And this chooses how much power it's pushing to the batteries, so it really depends. If I'm using a fair amount of power, that's going to drop the voltage. This will sense the voltage drop and push more power to the batteries, essentially meaning anything I run right now while the sun is shining is going to just not really take anything off of the batteries. So super cool. But basically I run a lot of stuff. I have internet equipment everywhere. There's a lot of little stuff that I'm just not thinking of at the moment. I mentioned all the large loads, including 2 air conditioners running at the moment. I don't like to push this system really hard where I'm just constantly drawing what I am drawing. However, if I do, I really love the idea of just pulling another 300 watts and converting that into cool air to help keep everything in here nice and cool. And of course it helps dehumidify it as well, which is good. This thing came in, I don't remember what that came in. That's a big silica packet, so I threw that in here for a few weeks just to help absorb moisture as well. This, with this being golf cart batteries, flooded lead acid batteries, they do produce, as a byproduct, hydrogen. And so this whole building is really vented. I have a vent down low, several vents up high, and of course with all this air moving with the air conditioner, there should be no hydrogen buildup going on in here. But yeah, I'm just so excited that at all the stuff I'm able to run. Robot lawnmowers are charging. I could of course be running a pressure washer if I wanted to. I just tend to run big things one at a time. So charging battery banks, that's a big thing. Cooking, that's a big thing. Running a pressure washer that also has the water pump come on occasionally, definitely a big thing. Charge my chainsaw batteries. This thing's brand new, never used yet. Gonna be doing a video on that saw once, I know what's up with it. But this is pretty much the solar power and how it's working. My costs in it, about $3 grand in panels, a few $100 in lumber to build this panel rack. Batteries were somewhere around $3 grand. That's about $2 grand. What's that put me at? 6, 8. Yeah, so $8 grand for the major components. Charge controller was about $600. And all the other little incidentals, wire, cables, which I put together all myself out of welding cable. Got some ground rods. Just a bunch of miscellaneous stuff that really adds up. I didn't really charge anything for this building here because it's literally OSB that I recycled from a bed I built like 10 years ago. Had this cool camo pattern on it. And then just covered it in plastic and figured I would climate control the room itself. This is some old baseboard trim, fastened with drywall screws, a couple of door hinges. So I cheaped out on a lot of the stuff I felt I could get away with while trying to purchase components that were valuable. And I'm also paranoid of fire, so I literally have a fire extinguisher, oh my gosh, fire extinguisher, I wish. Smoke alarm in here, so if there's anything going on, hopefully it starts screaming and can let me know what's up. So I do have some unfinished stuff. I never did put covers on those boxes, but I did tape the connections. That's from the solar panels, essentially combining the ones that I need to before they go into the combiner box. And of course I did all my wire calculations and got the right sized or oversized wires for everything. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's how it works practically. I never plan to run as much as I'm running off of it right now. But no matter how big you go with your solar power, I think what'll end up happening is you will use it right at capacity all the time. If you've got free electric, like, why would you not use it? And, oh, there it is. So, no matter how big I build my solar power system, guaranteed I'm going to push it to capacity. That's just the way it works. I'm trying to fiddle with this thing with one hand. This is my latch, my door latch. It's actually kind of a cool door latch. I figured I'll do that until I come up with something better. And I don't know, it doesn't bother me enough. I don't have to get in there enough for it to really bother me. But if I use all the power when I have it, you know, I just have excess. The sunshine is just going to go to waste if I don't use it. So run a bunch of stuff, get that living quarters cooled down so that overnight we can carry some of that coolness when I'm not bringing in power. The other thing I do, I charge electric bikes. I already mentioned electric lawnmowers. I've got 3 of them right now. This one's just in a testing phase. I can verify whether it's good or not. But yeah, that's it. And it kind of doubles as just like a little shed. I've got a couple spare panels. Those couple there are 12-volt panels from a smaller system that I used when I started homesteading. I've got some other really funky stuff like this. This over here used to. This is 3 panels. Right now, with the breaker, or it's a disconnect. In this one, this means those 3 panels go to the battery bank. I used to be able to take this out, put it here, and those 3 would go to an electric water heater straight with the DC, straight from the panels, and heat water in my camper, which is what this bare spot is. There used to be a camper there. Obviously, I'm not using that anymore, but nonetheless, it's still there, and I just make sure I don't pull this and put it in here until I know for sure where the ends of the wires are, which are now in the dirt, so that would not be good. But yeah, it's kind of a spider nest. I had no electric when I was putting this up, so I could have made this look so much better, much more professional, really impressed people. But it would have taken me another couple months to have electric, and I was like, you know what? I'm just plugging everything together, making sure it works, putting my tester on everything, and it's been doing really well. We're 4 years into it. Now Jen's over there watering the garden, so that water pump will kick on and off again. We just use as much electric when it's available, and then just run the minimum stuff overnight, like freezers, fridges. My freezer is full. If I was really struggling for power, I could unplug it overnight if I was having battery capacity issues. These panels, full of these what they call snail trails, pretty much just a cosmetic thing. They all tested good the last time I tested them. I should go back through and test the output again, but I am planning to redo this whole array within the next 12 months. Screws and washers holding it down. I've got this metal flashing to keep the water from pouring through on the inside, so I can use it as a storage shed. But yeah, it's been going well. I even have a gutter here for collecting water during times of drought and other issues like that. So all my chainsaws that I have are electric. And yeah, honestly, I can't believe I can run as much as I do, but I've put as much money as I felt I could into the system when I built it, and just said that's just gonna have to work, and I'll adjust my usage accordingly. And thankfully I was able to increase my usage and have to decrease. Now in the wintertime, this is a totally different ball game. I bring in way less electric because the days are shorter, because I have clouds. Spring and fall can be a struggle, but the refrigeration, obviously the air conditioners aren't running. Freezers are all in the outside temperature. So if it's 40 degrees out, the refrigerators aren't kicking on that much. And I do actually turn one of the refrigerators off in the outdoor kitchen to save power. So, and then usually add another mini fridge or something in the storage building there. And we don't cook with electric, we cook over the wood stove. So that's it. We just kind of adapt our life in the wintertime. But people ask me all the time, why don't you buy an electric car? You have so many panels. It's because regular life and all the systems here take every bit of what I've got. I mean, I would have a little bit extra, but it's not enough to charge an electric vehicle. They pull a ton of power. Yeah, it'd be crazy. I could put up another system and use that dedicated just to charge an electric vehicle. And if I only drove once a week, I'd probably be golden. But that's a whole lot of upfront expense for somebody that drives once a week. So really not necessary. The electric bikes are cool. They don't pull much power. They're not really good utility wise as far as like doing work, going and gathering firewood. Like, I'm sure I could make it work if I had to, but yeah, so that's it. That's a real-time, this is how the solar power practically works on my homestead. And today was just an excellent day to describe what's been happening and everything that's been charging, and it's working good, and I hope it stays working good, because if it doesn't, I have to run the generator. So I have a tiny little generator. It's, I think it's 2,800 watts. But it likes to run at 2,000 watts a lot better. Otherwise, it's just really screaming. So, all right. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. That's the solar power for you. How it works, and it's been serving me well. I just have to essentially think about it and manage it. It's just something you think about, like you got to have fuel in your vehicle, so you just make sure you don't run out of gas on the highway, or at least you should. So. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you like this channel, hit the subscribe button. If not, don't worry about it. But either way, I appreciate you watching. Have a good one.